Welcome to the Know Yourself Revolution podcast. My name is Grace Gravestock, and today I'm excited to introduce you to Laura Foster, the founder of Souls Healing Humanity. Laura is an amazing human, and she's doing some really big work in the world. I can't wait to let her tell her story. She found herself and truly woke up when she made a decision to just cut out all the bull crap, and she's here to help people in the position she was in to do the same. After seeing her parents and only sibling succumb to ill health, tragedy, and depression, she made a decision. This is the key thing. This is exactly the same thing in my story 7 years ago. She made a decision to make critical, calculated changes that completely transformed her life. What followed was a massive shapeshift in her physical, mental, and spiritual well-being that rippled across every part of her story and all those around her. She is committed to using her holistic scaffolding technology to help people discover their joy and unpack their bull crap, one giant bag of it at a time. You know what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying. I just am trying to be PG here. Laura, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Oh, it is an honor and pleasure to be here and to be part of the collective. It's going to be a fun ride. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're such an important part of the Know Yourself Revolution. And so when we met, I was just stunned at how aligned we are in our messages and what we're doing for humanity. So I'm super excited to welcome you into the team. We're all leading by example. In the Know Yourself Revolution, we start with ourselves first, knowing, loving, and trusting ourselves. And as I'm sure there are a lot of people when they're first starting out, they think that sounds selfish, but we have to start with ourselves first.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been programmed to think that putting yourself first is selfish. That's just part of the programming.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. So as if you have watched the show before, we're gonna transition into looking at Laura's chart. And the purpose of this section, and Laura, I know you're new to the show, but I want to tell you that the reason that we do this part of the show is so that everyone watching sees who you really are and sees what you're really here to do. And the key message that I want everyone to get is that you are not broken. You're perfectly designed to be and do exactly what you came here to be and do. We are all fully supported in that. And so when we see our charts and we realize, oh my gosh, we truly do have everything we need. We've all heard those words, but what does it really mean? And so when we look at our configuration, we can see that we actually do have everything we need to be and do what we're here to be and do. So if you'd like to find out your chart and see what work you're here for, and you want to follow along as I share some key points of Laura's chart, get your chart at what'smychart.com. It is free. So Laura, look at this beautiful energy blueprint. Now, I have a feeling that you can see a lot of things about people and probably a little bit differently. And I'm just going to pause and say, is that true?
It's absolutely true. I am a really straight shooter and very transparent now that I know myself. Yeah, I that's one of my gifts.
Absolutely. And I want to say that one of the ways it's when I look at your chart, it's amazing. The first thing that jumped out at me, first of all, I'm going to say, I'm only going to highlight a couple things because I could get carried away. And I know we're going to have another conversation and with a lot more detail.
Yes.
But I want to highlight things for everyone watching. So your professional type is a builder. And so what that means is you're here to do the things that you find satisfying. And so this orange square at the bottom means that you have access to your one of your superpowers, which is being like the Energizer Bunny and having unlimited access to energy when you're doing work that's fun for you. And so it's so important that we're all doing what's fun for us right now. And that is really surprising because it goes against what we're programmed for, right?
Exactly. Yeah. We're programmed to do what other people have told us we should be doing. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
We're so programmed. And yet when we listen to our own inner guidance system, and so on the chart, we
Mhm.
see it as decision-making strategy. It is different for everyone. And so for you, Laura, being a builder, you get to wait for something to respond to. And then here it says respond, then wait for clarity. And the reason for that is because your inner guidance system is based on a certain type of motor, which is, we call it an emotional wave. And so what it means is that when making a decision, you get triggered emotionally, and then you go through a process that's, up and down. And you'll recognize this. I'll ask you about it in a minute. But if you know that if you make a decision up here, it's going to be very different than the decision you make down here. And as your emotions go on this kind of roller coaster journey, what happens is that you're on a ride, you're on a wild ride. And so it's really important that you wait for clarity. And so what does that mean? It means like sleeping on it. It means not allowing yourself to be pushed or rushed into making a decision, giving yourself the gift of time when you're making, especially when you're making an important decision. Does that resonate with you?
It absolutely does, because you're talking about knowing your true self. And when I know my true self, I can sit back and realize that all the reacting and the responding is just that emotional, it's the human wave. And it is a result sometimes of the programming that I still need to process. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and so when you say that the programming you still have to process, what that draws me to is all this white in your chart. So what we look at, what jumps out at me right away is how much white you have in your chart. What does that mean? It means that you have all these receiving dishes. So when what we're looking at is your 9 energy centers, they're either broadcasting, which is the color, or they're receiving dishes. And so you could think of it like if you were a Wi-Fi signal. And so what are you broadcasting? It's like my phone is broadcasting slightly different information than your phone or someone else's phone. And that's the information that's going to be consistent, is the things that are being broadcast. And then all the things that are your Wi-Fi signal is connecting to, let's say, a Bluetooth. And that Bluetooth is only the things that are that are Bluetooth, right? And so Bluetooth enabled if you're talking about your computer. And that's where all this white comes in, because what this shows is that you have these receiving dishes for certain kinds of information, much a lot of Bluetooth devices, right? And so you're picking it up. And so when we talk about conditioning and programming for you, gosh, there's a lot of white here. So that means there's a lot of opportunity. And this is where the conditioning and programming usually lives. So for example, you have one of the superpowers you have is to read minds. And the reason is because you've got all these receiving dishes, right? And they're picking up literally what other people are thinking. This one up here, the mind. And I'm the opposite of you in many of these areas. And so what that means is I'm broadcasting my way of thinking and my inspiration, and you are receiving it. And if you tune into it, you can pick it up. And so that's what I'm going to suggest. That's what you're doing when you see what about people. It's because you're picking up all this information through the lens of these receiving dishes that are giving you this information, because it's based on what the other person is broadcasting. Does that resonate?
Okay. It absolutely does. And it doesn't even have to be in person. And I know
Absolutely.
this makes sense to a lot of people, but that's one of my gifts, is being able to tune in to the collective, whoever is watching. I don't even know if they're watching. I may be doing a live on TikTok, but I can sense that. And then it comes through me from the universe, spirit, whatever, a message for them that will help them. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's amazing. Yeah, and it comes through this top one. Notice that there's no color at around there. We're going to talk in more depth later, you and I, Laura, but this is one of your superpowers. Exactly what you said. I want to point out that it's in your configurations. You have been given, or you've chosen, however you look at it, a certain configuration that allows you to do just that. Because the fact that there's no color around it, it's like it's not just a receiving dish, it's like a satellite dish that's focused. You have control of it, consciously or unconsciously, depending on where you're at in your journey, but it really is a superpower. And so that is exactly what you just said. It allows you, because you get information from beyond the physical realm, through this center, which we could think of again as like the Bluetooth. This is what it connects to, is the higher source, or God, or however you understand it. Yeah. And spirit. And so that's what you're getting. You have a direct line straight there, and it's just always coming in. And so all of these areas that are white are also, though, where the conditioning and programming lives, because you're able to pick up all that stuff. You've always been able to pick up that stuff. And so it also means that, especially when you were younger, and I want you to make this connection with the scaffolding work that you do, but my sense of how the two connect is that this is where you're most susceptible. All these centers, the types of information that you're picking up here is where you're also most susceptible to conditioning and programming. Because why? Because you're open and you're receiving it. And so when you were younger, all of us, when we were younger, we pick up all this stuff and it sticks most in all the areas that are white. And you can see how many areas are white on your chart. But I want to make this clear. It's not something to be upset about. I can hear some people thinking now, why would that be? Like, why am I fated or why am I cursed to have all this? It's not a curse. It's actually a blessing. And the reason is because when you recognize yourself from the stuff you're picking up, self from other, I'm going to choose what I want to claim as mine. And so that's where that's where you get to become wise about all these things. And so it's very multifaceted. All this stuff is all wisdom. So you, Laura, are here to be very wise. And who are you here to be wise for? We look at your public role. Talented networker. I'm going to just focus on the 4 line right now. So you are here for your people. And so what does that mean? It means that the most important people and resources for you have always come through your network, and they always will. So when you need anything, and I'm sure you already know this, but I'm saying this for all the 4 lines out there, when you need anything, your most direct route to get it is to just put it out into your network and say, this is what I need, and it will come to you. And so you can test this out if you're watching and this is new to you and you have a 4 line in your public role. You can just think about the most important people and resources. How did they come to me? And I would put money on it. They came through your network in some way, shape, or form. Does that resonate with your experience, Laura?
It absolutely resonates with me because it just yesterday, because I'm actually putting together a new mini course for Humanities Stream, if you are part of that platform, and I need a workbook done. I have the draft, and I'm like, okay, all right, Spirit, help me figure this out. And it's boom, I got an email from somebody I hadn't heard from in a while, and I didn't know she did that. So yes, it absolutely makes sense. Oh, yay!
That's so awesome. And in this assimilation piece, it says cooperatives. And then that's another whole thing we could talk about. But you are meant to work with other people. And so that design that you have is uniquely draws other people into your field so that you can, through partnership with others in cooperation, have the biggest possible impact.
I totally agree with that. We are part, you and I, others, we're part of this shift from competition to collaboration. I live it. I don't have competitors. So when I have meetings with people, who are your competitors? Are you spying on them? I won't do that. I'm like, you know what? I love them all. So I want everybody to succeed, whatever you're doing.
I'm so glad you said that, Laura, because I've had the same experience with the Know Yourself Revolution. I've had a lot of people look at me with suspicion. What do you mean you're providing a platform for other coaches, teachers, and healers who help people know, love, and trust themselves? They're like, aren't you worried that they teach human design and they're going to be competition? They just make all these assumptions right away. And I'm like, look, there's enough for everyone. We live in a world of abundance. Are the birds in keto having a harder time finding food than the birds here in Austin? Because there's enough for everyone.
I love it. Absolutely. Yes. So we're definitely part of that shift. It's a great thing.
Awesome. Yes, it's one of the truths that we get to share. And gosh, there's so many other things. I wanted to say we have a new report called Environments Report, and if I can find the URL for that, we'll put it up in the chat later. But I just want to point out your environment is kitchens, and so what that often means is moist places. And I know you're near the equator, and I'm just curious if is it more humid in keto?
Yes, it is. And for the ones of you that don't know me, I'm actually a barefoot triathlete, and I'm barefoot like 24/7. So I love to hike around in the woods, and it is very moist. And I was just out this morning doing a run, and so that makes sense. So
I love it. Yes. So in this new report, if you're looking to move or you're wondering where in the world to live, we specifically created this report to help you understand there's 6 different environments and more than one might resonate with you. But the idea is you're uniquely configured to thrive the best in a certain kind of environment. And
That is
so
cool.
isn't that neat? And so that it's
Yeah.
actually baked into your configuration that you would know that. And so it's interesting that you ended up in keto and
Mhm.
you're doing that by choice, right? You chose to live there. Is that true?
Yeah, but I'm actually a digital nomad, so there's much more to the story. So I've learned to trust the universe. I know it sounds a little kooky, but the universe is okay, go to keto. I don't really know why I'm here, but that's okay. I trust it. The next stop is Peru. I don't know why. So,
Awesome. And so trusting is part of the new paradigm. Like you and I are here to, especially to lead by example in trusting. And so what you said there is so vital and so connected to what everyone needs to hear right now, which is we get to trust even when we don't know why. And gosh, there's so many other conversations I want to have with you, but I want to get into
yeah.
your story. Thank you for bringing that up. That is so important right now. And I want to just,
Can I just say
sure.
one thing? Because
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
needs to hear this. It's coming in really
Yes.
strong about trust. Until you learn to trust the universe, spirit, whatever you call it, and then you learn to trust yourself, until you can learn to trust those two things, you're never going to be able to trust others. You're
Hmm.
never going to be able to trust others. I'll leave that right there. I know it's a much deeper conversation, but somebody needed to hear it. Thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, and so
Mhm.
one of the it reminds me of one of the live events that we did a couple months ago, and the energy patterns and how they're shifting, but faith, trust is such an
Mhm.
important component for us going forward in the next 410 years, especially. And anyway, we can have another conversation about that.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
yeah, I wanna support you in that, and it's so important that everyone hears that right now. So thank you for calling that
Mhm.
out. So I wanna just wrap it up with one other thing. So you see in your chart here something called your grand purpose. Now your grand purpose is energy codes, these 4 codes, and they're represented as numbers here. And we have these words, right angle cross of service. One of my most best performing videos, it's go over 9,000 views. It's about this, what in traditional human design is called your incarnation cross. And the reason it's so popular, it's because it's time for us all to step into our purpose. And our purpose is
Mhm.
is to be ourselves. And so all these things, we've just touched on a few of them for you, Laura, to build what brings you satisfaction, to use your network, to listen to your gut, to become wise about all these things, to use your emotions and have a very emotionally rich experience with life and enjoy the ride that you're on. All those things are examples of part of your purpose. And I just want to highlight this because a lot of people, and I used to be in this camp, think that it's just one thing. It's not just one thing. It's to be
Mhm.
the fullest expression of you that's possible
Mhm.
and with as much joy as possible. And so what is going to bring you the most joy and satisfaction? Well, actually following your configuration, like living in alignment with your divine design, which we
Mhm.
can see a representation of here energetically. And so I want to just land with this last thing, which yours is called right angle cross of service. So these 4 energy patterns make up 70% of what you're here to be and do. And so you, Laura, and this is just a very high level summary that represents these 4 energy patterns, but you, Laura, are here to know and study the different archetypes of daily life and
Mhm.
recognize their viability. And then from a state of calm, and I have a feeling you're going to talk about this in your story, from a state of calm, give your opinion indicating the correction needed to make life better and more joyful and to continue to evolve. Does that
Mhm.
resonate with you?
It absolutely does. And when you say evolve, one of the big things I say is it's your choice. You're either going to evolve or repeat. And I was stuck in the repeat pattern for a long time. And I'll talk about that in my story. And I know there are a lot of other people, we're stuck. We're stuck in that repeat pattern. We don't have to be.
We don't have to be. There's so much hope. Yes. So let's get into it then. And I'll just say, if you're interested in finding out what your grand purpose report, what your grand purpose is, we do have a short report. You'll see it as a pop-up when you go to what'smychart.com to have that option. And it's powerful to know, to have a focus, to be have the clarity of, oh my gosh, that's why this and this. Because ultimately, one of my key messages, and I know it's congruent with your messages, Laura, is life happens for us, not to us. And when we can accept that and trust And we can start to, for those of us who are really analytical and really want to know why, this system helps us to understand that why. Even though we don't need it, we can live fine without knowing, but sometimes we want to. And if you do want to, I encourage you to get your chart at what'smychart.com. So thank you for sharing your configuration with us, Laura. And I want to
Thank
just
you.
pause. You're welcome. And just ask you, is there anything else that you want to say about your configuration or what I just shared that resonated most with you?
Just that what you shared is so powerful. It is the true self. So what you shared is like a shortcut so people can know, oh gosh, wow, and reaffirm to them like this is my true self. This is a shortcut to knowing that. And then the challenge is shedding your programming so you can actually live in alignment with that. And that's where the holistic scaffolding comes in. So,
Exactly. It's a
yes,
perfect, yeah, it's a
it is.
perfect,
Well, whoa.
yes, it's a perfect connection point. So yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you for that. I'm so
Mhm.
excited to get into your story. Laura, you do this work with holistic scaffolding, and I know this was given to you. And I'd love for you to share with our listeners the story of how you came to do this purpose work, because I just want to highlight before you get into the story, one of the key purposes of this podcast is to help you as the listener to realize that, first of all, we're all uniquely configured to be and do what we're here to be and do. Second, that life happens for us and not to us. And third, that everything happens for a reason. And so as you share your story of how you came to this clarity about doing this very important purpose work at this time, Laura, I just want everyone to be thinking about the biggest challenge. If you're listening, what is the biggest challenge that you've had in your life? Because I have a feeling that you're going to see in Laura's story in a minute, a mirror for your own life. And what I want you to see is that it's happening for you and not to you. So with that, Laura, take us into that moment when you had the starting point for your transition to take you from your old life to your new life.
And I want to preface this with you're exactly right. This is a mirror for people. So my story may be different than yours, but I know you're going to resonate with some of the feelings. So I call them moments of change, and several of them happen to us throughout our lifetime. So one of my big moments of change was watching my parents and my brother pass away from the same lifestyle I was living. They were eating the standard American diet. I was 260 some pounds. I had all these different comorbidity diseases, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, slept with a CPAP, and watching my family die and pass on at early ages. My brother was only 56. Profoundly shook me. It was a moment of change for me. And so I know there are listeners out there, there are people in the collective, you are going through moments of change. It looks different for you. But there really are three choices when you go through these moments of change. Number one, they're going to be a great catalyst for you to wake up, like it was for me. Or number two, and unfortunately, this happens more often than not, we sweep what has happened under the rug and we keep going. We keep living as we have been programmed. And the third option, not very pleasant, but you decide to commit suicide. You decide to take yourself out of humanity. So I had these moments of change. And for many decades, I lived exactly as I had been programmed. And I know there are not lots of people that are still living as you've been programmed. You were programmed to think a certain way, to get the degree, to get married, to have kids, to have the white picket fence and the car and the fancier car, more stuff. That. And I like to share that social media is a great mortician. Because if you look back at my post even 15 years ago, oh, I had the life, baby. I had the life. But behind that facade, I was barely hanging on. And the first thought when I woke up was, why am I flippin' still here. And I didn't say the word flippin'. So I know, I can feel what some of you are going through. I know that. I've been there. But it takes that decision. I call it the moment of change, and you draw your mother flipping line in the sand, and you're like, I'm not going to live like this anymore. And only you can make that decision. And that's why the holistic scaffolding is so important, and one of the big tenets of Souls Healing Humanity. The holistic scaffolding is free, and it is for you to become your own guru. It is the technology, it is the fastest way I know how once you understand it. And you become your own guru. You shed your programming and conditioning.
Laura,
So
I
you can
want
come
to,
into alignment.
I love that. And I just want to pause for just a second and highlight something really important that you just said to make sure that it landed with you if you're listening. You made a decision in that moment. You made a decision that shifted everything. And I want to point out how we all are powerful. We're way more powerful than we realize. And we get to choose. We get to choose how we show up. We get to choose which timeline we're on. And so when, just like you made a crucial decision, I was in the same boat. And some people know my story. It's in the book behind me as well. But when I was ready to check out, so much like you, Laura, I just love your story and your work because it so resonates with mine. And I was ready to check out. And then I made a decision. And that was the turning point. And I want to highlight for you, if you're listening, that if you're on the fence about this and you're waking up, like Laura just said, why am I here? What the bleep is the purpose of all this? And you're on the edge of giving up. I want you to know that it's important that you don't give up. You're here for a reason. And that you get to choose. You always get to choose. But when you choose, what that does is it opens up a whole nother possibility. So please tell us more, Laura, about this amazing technology that you have available. Did you say it's free?
It is absolutely free. It is on my website at soulshealinghumanity.com. I've taken a profound stance against gatekeeping information. This was given from the universe through me for you guys. It's not for me. I use it all the time, but it's not for me. So, in a nutshell, it is a technology. It is 6 platforms, and it once you learn the framework, it is the fastest way I know how that you can shed your BS programming and conditioning so you can become in alignment with your true self. The greatest analogy I can give, if you think about the sculpture of David that Michelangelo did, Michelangelo had a famous quote. I'm going to misquote it, but he said, David was inside there. All he had to do was chip away at the granite. The holistic scaffolding is the framework. The wisdom wands and the wisdom tools that I teach you, and I give them a lot of them away for free, are your chisels. So you can shed all that stuff. Yes. So
This is so powerful. Yeah. And so if you have been wondering how to get out of your own way, you've been wondering how to shed all the stuff that happened to you, all the stuff that you've had to endure, the trauma. I think of a family member right now that is just still so engulfed in grief and trauma, and it's disabling. And so when I think of her with love in my heart, I want this for everyone. I want this technology for everyone. And I'm so grateful that you offer it for free. Laura, this is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience with it and how it works?
absolutely. There are 6 platforms, and I teach it in a linear fashion where I go up each platform. But if you look at the graphic that's on the website, it's there, all 6 platforms. But in the background of the graphic is a figure 8. But if actually you turn it on the side, it is an infinity symbol. So when you use the holistic scaffolding, you're actually visiting a lot of different platforms, maybe even at the same time. But the base platform is awareness. And something I always say is you cannot change what you do not see. You
That's such
cannot
a
change
powerful.
what you do not see.
That's so powerful. Yeah, awareness is
Yes.
absolutely the key. And until we choose to make the unconscious conscious, we don't
Mhm.
have any access or power to change the programming that's there. And so I love that your tools
Mhm.
make it easy for people. So that's
Oh, it's super easy and it's super like modern and yeah, I deliver it with my own unique weirdness. I am here to be a disruptor. I am here to be weird. I'm here to make people go, "What? Huh? Wait." But I'm passionate about getting this out to people. So from the awareness platform, then there's the celebrating you, which is touches on how important it is to actually get yourself in a higher vibration, celebrate all the stuff that's happened for you. Hey, you know what? Not only did I survive that, I'm thriving because of it. And celebrating that you're a creator, getting you out of the victimhood and the blame game. Oh, Grace, man, I lived there for years and years. I was married for 32 years, and man, for a long time, and man, it was all his fault. What I came to understand, it was never about him, it was about me.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
So,
that's so relevant and pertinent right now, Laura. Thank you. And I want to we're going to put in the show notes the link to that little clip that you just, it gives more insights into what you just said. That was so pivotal. As I was preparing for this recording, I watched that one and I thought, oh my gosh, it made sense all of a sudden. Why? Because I've had that shift in my own life recently. Like, why is it so important to celebrate yourself? And I have coaches that I'm working with that are constantly every day, what are you celebrating? What are you celebrating? And I knew it was a good idea. And I've had practices in my business to remind myself every now and then, let's make sure we're celebrating successes. But until I saw your video, I just didn't have the clarity that I now have about why that's so important, because it raises our frequency. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
oh, absolutely, because it's based on the law of attraction. And the law of attraction, whether you believe it or not, or whatever, that's up to you, but it's happening. The universe will keep sending you what you're vibing at. So if you're vibing in, oh, poor pitiful me, and oh man, so and so did this to me, and I'm not judging it because I lived there for decades. The universe is going to keep sending you the same stuff. And like I said, evolve or repeat. If you're stuck in that negative loop, the universe is going to keep sending you the same stuff until you actually learn it. Now, some people, and it's okay, it's part of their journey. They might be stuck in the repeat cycle for their whole lifetime. And that's another big thing I teach is let it go. You cannot save anybody else. Let it go.
That's right. And so taking back our power, and I love that's one of your key messages as well as mine, is it involves, it's a little scary for a lot of people. And I know I've even had moments, even though I know this is true, of, oh my gosh, is it really that way? Do I really have that much power? Does that mean that nobody's going to come and save me? I had such a savior complex for so many years, like grew up with religious conditioning and programming. Somebody's going to come and save me from this thing. And the reality is that we get to choose what the world that we create, and that we're so powerful that we have that agency. And that if we and it's all about our vibration, we can choose which vibration we want to be on, because it's like a radio
Exactly.
station, right? We can
Yeah.
tune into, and if you're old enough to remember radio before it was digital,
Yes.
you actually would tune the dial. So that makes
Mhm.
sense if you think about
Yes.
it from a frequency. Literally, it's a frequency dial when you tune into an
It is.
old-fashioned radio. And
Yes.
so I want to just implant that seed in
Mhm.
your mind, because frequency is a kind of a woo term for some people,
Mhm.
and they just don't get it. They think, oh, that doesn't make sense to me, I don't know what that is. But if you just think about, if you ever used a radio dial and you tuned your station to, I used to listen to oh my gosh, I think it was 89.9, long time ago. Anyway, my mom, I grew up with this radio station, it was the best of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. My mom liked to listen to it. So I always listened to it, growing up.
Mhm.
And it was a certain frequency on the dial. So when I
Mhm.
grew up and I got big enough to have my own car and my own radio in my car, I remember tuning to the same radio station that I was used to listening to in the house that my mom would have on. Why am
Yeah.
I sharing that? Because I want you to get that we get to choose what radio station we choose, and that when we choose and we make that powerful choice for ourselves, it gives us an opportunity to tune in a different station. And the station that we choose to tune into is what determines the output of the experience that we have.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And we do have the power to choose that. I am losing you some.
Yeah.
Just
If you could talk a little bit about okay, I think it'll be fine. It'll be okay in the long run.
okay, yeah, because I
If
do
you
have
could talk a little bit
listening.
about the person that's going to get the most value from working with you, and then let's talk about your free gift.
Absolutely.
So first, who's the person that can get the most value? Who are they? Because I want them to be listening, and if they hear themselves in your description, they're going to know that they're a fit for going to get this free gift we're going to share in a minute.
Absolutely. You are a person that has been around the self-help for a while. Uh, like me, you probably have enough self-help books to start your own library. And you keep buying all the programs and reading all the books, but you're still stuck in that repeat cycle. You have small incremental changes, but not enough. You're still living as you've been programmed. You're frustrated and unhappy, but you don't know where to go. And you're ready to do your own work. You're ready to become your own guru. You're ready to learn something new, revolutionary, like the holistic scaffolding, and you're ready to settle in and be accountable for yourself. You're ready to move out of the victimhood and stop playing the blame game, stepping into your power and being in control of your own life. So those are the folks that are part of the community.
I love it. That so resonates with me, Laura, and I appreciate you clarifying it. And so, for you, if you are, we talked at one point about your ideal client being like a woman between the ages of 30 and 60, and that's me. I'm divorced too, and I resonated with your work when I came across it because it answered those questions for me. Like, I'm tired of just another book, another course. Like, what is next? I really want to get to the bottom of this, and so getting out of my own way is so important, and that's what's led me to the work that I'm doing. And I love that you make it easy. You make it it's a shortcut, like you said.
It is.
And so if you're a woman or a man, we obviously this work is good for everyone, but if you're somebody that fits that criteria and you're ready to actually do the work, but you don't want to spend years and years in therapy,
Mm-mm.
this is a shortcut. This is a way to
Yes.
actually take back your power. And so
Yes.
kyr.life/take back your power, that's going to get you straight to Laura's free gift, which is
Mhm.
going to introduce you to this amazing work and these tools and technologies that are going to just help you shift quickly. You don't have to be in therapy for years. I think of
Yeah.
a certain family member right now
Mhm.
who really has that story of
Yeah.
just thinking, how many more years of therapy do you need to be in before you can
Mhm.
actually function and be happy? You don't
Yeah.
need to wait for that. You just get this download, this free gift, and you can get
Mhm.
started right away. Can you talk a little bit about what is it like to go through this process, Laura, in terms of timing? Are we talking about days, weeks, months, or years to see some shifts? Talk about that if you could.
When you download the Take Back Your Power workbook, it's 5 days and it's 10 to 15 minutes. I walk you directly through really deep activities, but they're quick and easy for you to understand. So you start to tap into your true self and your true wisdom that you have. Like you said, you have everything that you need. So it walks you right through 5 days, 10 to 15 minutes a day. And it gets you started. It gives you the initial understanding of the base awareness and the celebrating you platforms of the holistic scaffolding. And it just gives you a real flavor, and it's delivered, like I said, in my quirky little self.
And you have such a beautiful personality and you make it so fun. I love watching
Yeah.
some of the clips that I found about you on social media. And you're just fun to watch and you're real. You're real like a real
Thank
person, like not like
Oh,
a boring old
absolutely.
teacher that's
Well,
just
and
you're not
that,
that.
that's
So
that's thank you. And that's the thing of becoming your own guru. It's so important because right now there's such an influx of AI and there's so much information out there. And it's, no, we need to settle in and just be our authentic selves, our true selves. Exactly what you're helping people see that. And then I'm helping people, giving them the holistic scaffolding technology so you can chip away at your stuff so you can live like that. So yeah, it's
absolutely.
fantastic.
I love it. Yeah, and I can see some real potential for us doing some collaborations together because when you start with your chart and you see where all your, I'm going to say your stuff lives and your experience, you can be like, oh, that's why. For example, in my chart, one of my big ahas was I'm an empath. And so I always pick up other people's emotions. And I thought they were mine until I realized they're not. And
Yes.
I don't have to jump on that roller coaster if I don't want to. Like it's an option. It's a beautiful capacity that I have to tune into somebody else's field and experience the joy or the sadness or the grief with them. But I
Mhm.
don't have to be ruled by it. I don't have to
No.
think that, okay, this person's in grief and now all of a sudden I turn into a crying whatever. And this has been a
Mhm.
thing with my mom and I. We're so sensitive. And so we're always like
Mhm.
crying. And for years, it was like my mom and I would have these conversations. What is wrong with us? Why do we have this? We're the tail wagging the dog. We're subject to other people's emotions. And until I
Mhm.
saw in my chart what that was about, and that's about a
Right.
lesson and a wisdom that I get to learn about putting
Mhm.
myself first and choosing, standing in my power and saying no, that's actually
Mhm.
not mine. As soon as I say no,
Yeah.
boom, an immediate energetic field surrounds me, protects me from having
Mhm.
to experience that. I can
Mhm.
choose, I can either experience it or not. But that's for me and a very real practical example of what taking back
Mhm.
really means. And so I
Yeah.
love that you offer technology to help people do this on so many levels. So
Oh,
with the
yes.
combination of the chart, looking to see where
Mhm.
it lives, and then with your technology to get clean it out,
Mhm.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like boom, right?
Oh, and I do want to touch on one other little thing that you said about therapy and things. One of the folks that's actually taken the full course, I actually wrote the book Fed Up, Not Effed Up. I won't say the word, but it's the full word. There's actually a course available as well, a full course. And this person took the course. And one of the things she told me, she said, Laura, she said, I've been in therapy for years. And she said, I learned more in the course and I fired my therapist. Now, I'm not saying therapy is a bad thing. I want you to know that it's not. But this person, they became their own guru. They really understood and she's thriving now. 6 months later, she's thriving. And that's what gets me up in the morning.
I love
That's
that.
what gets me up in the morning.
That
Any
is
way
so
that I can help.
powerful. We all can be our own guru and the freedom that gives us. I like that you've prefaced it with that. I don't think either of us would ever be against therapists. Therapists are usually therapists because they want to help people and they help them in the best possible ways. And there's something for everyone and there's nothing wrong with therapy, like you said. And if you're ready to step story that you need therapy, that you need someone else to tell you what to do all the time. I don't mean that to be in a bad way, but we both know people that feel like they just need to get the answer from their therapist. And so if you're ready to step into a new level of personal response ability, then
Mhm.
this is
Yes,
for you. And it's not for everyone. It's right. It's not. So who is this not for,
absolutely.
Laura? Who would not be a
It
fit for this?
what you were describing, if it's someone that is still looking for an external something, someone to fix them, to save them, it's really not for them. There's a lot of other programs out there that and it's nothing wrong. And I want them to know that there's nothing wrong with that. That is part of where they are right now. But this is not for them. This is for the
Absolutely.
people, like you said, they're really ready. It's like, you I wrote the book, Fed Up, Not Effed Up. You're not effed up. You're fed up of all the
Yeah,
stuff, all the information, all the directions you're ready to stand in your power. And this, what Grace is doing and what I'm doing, it'll get you there. And you talk about like how long it can get you there fast. Now, if you're telling yourself like, oh my gosh, I've been effed up for so many decades, it's going to take me blah, blah, blah. You know what? You're right. It will. But if you're open to what, this is a new day. This is a new technology. I am willing to learn and I can turn this around. You can. Yeah.
that's right. My dad used to say, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And I didn't understand that though, and then the way I do now. But now I realize it's true for lots
Mhm.
of reasons. But the main reason that I want to highlight is because we're more powerful than we think, than we realize, most of us. And
Yes.
so when we step into our power, and I love that your whole theme is take back your power. When we step into our power, what we realize is that we get to choose. And if we want it to be hard and it take forever, it absolutely can. And if we choose to say, I choose to make, and I want you to say this right now, if you're done with the long way and you're ready for the shortcut, I want you to repeat after me. And it's simple, and it requires you to actually say this out loud, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So trust me here and just repeat after me if you're ready to take it to the next level and make it quick and make it fun. I choose
to make this change
fun and easy.
fun and easy.
I choose to make this change fun and easy. So when we choose to make the change fun and easy, now what we've done is we've created a whole new reality. We've created the energetic framework, almost I think of it like for a piñata. We choose to make it fun and easy. Now all of a sudden we have a different shape for our piñata, and now reality can fill in the blanks for us and help us to have a different experience, even if we've been in therapy. So that experience it can be fun and easy when we make that choice.
Absolutely. You said you not only the piñata, but you're tuning your frequency. You're tuning it to a different little frequency. Yes, we're here for fun.
Yeah, we're just tuning into a different radio station. That's right. And why not make it fun? It doesn't need to be painful. So let's do it together. Together, we can positively impact 5 billion people by 2025. That's my stated mission for the Know Yourself Revolution. That's coming up, right? That's next year.
Oh, yeah.
Why is it that I got that? We'll see. It remains to be seen. But I feel an urgency that this information is important to get out.
Yes.
And this work that you're doing is so pivotal right now, Laura. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for
Same to you. Yeah.
hearing the call. Thank you. Yeah. And for
Yeah.
trusting that you are fully supported. And if you're within the sound of my voice and you need this message today, I want you to hear this. You are fully supported. You are here for a reason. You're not broken. You're perfect the way you are, and you're perfectly designed to be and do everything you came here to be and do. And everything that's happened to you has actually happened for you, not to you. And I can show you in your human design why that is. Some people want to know, and some people don't need to know. You can go straight to just getting rid of it and just be done with it. Go to kyr.life/take back your power and get Laura's free gift if this resonates with you. If you're ready to make a transition now, if you're ready to let go of the old story about needing someone else to tell you how and when it's okay for you to show up, like you can be your own guru. And it just means taking personal responsibility and really stepping into that version of you that is I'm going to say I don't want to say better because it sounds like judgment, but that version of you that is more powerful. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. You're learning to design a life for you by you. And that's
Yes.
what holistic scaffolding gets you to. You're tired of living a life designed by somebody else in the programming. You're
I
ready
love
to
it.
design a life for you, by you. And who knows best for you is your true self, is your design.
Absolutely.
That's getting to it.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes, and I want to just point out that just it's exactly what you just said. I also have a process, and if it resonates with you, to look at it through your human design. What's my purpose program.com. You can get more information about that, but it's literally to help you get clarity on what it is that you want in your next steps, and like really getting clarity on how to get there. What does it look like? And so we looked at some of the pieces when we looked at your chart, Laura, in for instance, cooperation, like you're here to cooperate with others and to do what you're here to be and do through working with others. Like that's important. And that's not true of everyone. Of course, it's better for all of us if we come from a place of we win and we think in terms of collaboration and how can we all win? But some people are designed to be lone wolves. And then some people are designed to be doing what they're here to do through collaboration and partnership. And so while I would say all of us to some extent are going to be better off anytime by thinking in this way of like, how can we go further, faster together? The fact of the matter is we all have different configurations. And so we're here to be and do different things. We're not the same. That's the beauty of my message and yours and how it's
Yes.
so aligned. Like, it's
Mhm.
okay. It's not just okay. We are celebrating you in being you, both of us. Laura, this is,
Absolutely. Yes.
and so
Yeah.
we honor you and celebrate you
Mhm.
wherever you are on your path today and whatever you
Yeah.
choose for yourself. And only if this resonates with you and what Laura said about if this is a fit for you. But it's not just about the words, it's about listening to your inner guidance system. If
Mhm.
this is the answer that you've been looking for, the shortcut that you've been asking maybe God for, this is your sign.
Mhm.
kyr.life/, take back your power. It is free. Go
Mhm.
check it out. Learn more about Laura, learn more about the amazing work that she's doing with Souls Healing Humanity and this scaffolding, holistic scaffolding technology that she is giving to everyone. It's amazing. It's life changing. It is how
Yes.
we are going to create a tipping point on this planet
Yes.
together through frequency alignment and
Mhm.
collaboration. All of us, when we choose to trust, when we choose to work with others, we amplify our frequency. And so that's what we're
Mhm.
doing together today. So thank you so much for being on the show,
You're
Laura. I'm
welcome.
just so grateful to you for doing the work you're doing
Oh,
and bringing this
likewise.
holistic scaffolding to the world. Thank you. Yeah, together
Yeah.
we can do this. We can make a bigger impact by
We
helping
are
people know,
doing
love,
it.
and trust. We are doing it.
We
Yes,
are doing it.
absolutely.
I have no doubt, and I'm very grateful for all the work that you're doing, Grace. It's an amazing and powerful collaboration for the collective, no doubt.
Awesome. So if you resonate with this, reach out. This is your last chance before we close. Take back your power. Do it now. And thank you for being part of the Know Yourself Revolution. I will say one other quick thing, a little quick plug. We're just launching this Alignment 365 Club, and it is support, community support for you on this journey. So if you are on this journey in whatever technology you choose, whatever teacher you choose, I fully support you in your journey. And this is just a way to get connection with others who are on a similar journey and want to use gratitude as a way to raise their frequency and your vibration every day. So that is an option. There's a lot of things that you're fully supported. That's what I want to say. You're fully supported. So thank you again for being here, Laura. Any final words from you?
Just thank you. Wherever you are in your path, know that you are not effed up. You're not broken. And it's perfect wherever you are. And Grace and I are both here to support you in any way that we can. And I always sign off with I love all you people. And I do.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.